One of the most sacred conversations that is going on in Kenya today is how popular is President William Ruto. And if elections were to be held today, would William Ruto still emerge the winner? This is the discussion that is taking place along the streets of Kenya. And it is happening because William Ruto is such an orator. When he was campaigning, he crafted a narrative pitting the youths whom he named hustlers against those who he called the dynasties, wale mabwenyenye. And William Ruto told them that when he gets to power, he would craft an economic model that will look into their interests, because William Ruto was saying that since time of independence, the successive regimes have always coiled their economic model to support only those who are at the apex of the economic pyramid. Most people will tell you that William Ruto's popularity is dwindling by the day. And this is because most of the people who voted for him from Central and Rift Valley are now coming out from their shells, from their cocoons, and they are pronouncing themselves openly that this is not the man they elected in office. And they're saying that Ruto and Gachagua are a shadow of themselves. In a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, people feel that William Ruto would not be re-elected for a second term. As we continue the discussion, if you are watching us for the first time, allow me to request you to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. You can also like our videos. To those who support us in one way or the other, I want to say thank you. Ruto Arap Kirwa, who is a former vice chair of the UDA, is telling Kenyans that contrary to the popular opinion that William Ruto would not get a second term, William Ruto would easily be elected as the second, in his second term as the president of Kenya. And he is giving his reasons. Owing to the nature of our politics, Ruto says that we are very gullible, number one, and we forget. We have selective amnesia. We forget very fast. I want you to listen to this video and don't go, because we want to try and scrutinize whether William Ruto can get a second chance and
for his re-election. Why do I say that? Today, if he was to sack Moses Kuria, all of us would be celebrating, including the media, that Moses Kuria has been removed. And you see, whatever you say as a media is likely to have a lot of leverage in the minds of many Kenyans. And therefore, the next person is to sack another person in the list. And with those sackings, he might actually earn a second term. And that's my real worry. Because I know William, I don't want to say is wise, but William does not care about anybody else. It is his interest. And when he realizes Moses Kuria is the roadblock to his second term, he's going to sack him and any other person. So some of the ministers celebrating that they are doing very well with William, they are just being prepared, they are being fattened for slaughter. Mm-hmm. And in the near future, they'll be slaughtered as a way of justifying that William has already done what he promised, including issues of corruption. There's no regime that does not have information about their ministers. And this regime knows most of the ministers have been committing crimes through corruption.
The reason I'm telling you that I concur with Ruto Arap Kirwa is this. We are now making a lot of noise that William Ruto is not implementing the promises that he gave us. And you all know that William Ruto is very crafty and very cunning. In fact, he has studied the nature of our politics. And there is one thing that he understands, that we are playing tribal politics. In fact, our politics is founded and engraved on our ethnicity. So what William Ruto will be doing is just one. He will preside over a very corrupt government, appointing only his tribesmen and a few from the Rigathis community. And that will happen for a period of about 3 years. In 2023, 2024, and 25, I think, when we are about to approach 2027, where we expect William Ruto to stand and tell Kenyans what he has achieved. And that is when he will unleash what he has always hidden. And as Kipruto says, this is the time when William Ruto will have sacrificial lambs. And Moses Kuria is just used as an example to represent those people who think that they're so much close to William Samoei Ruto that they can misuse their offices, that they can perpetuate corruption and nothing will happen. This group includes the former governors who have got cases waiting for them. People like Zachary Okothobado, the former governor of Migori. People like James Ongwae, the former governor of Kisii. They are now finding a very wonderful shadow in William Ruto's arms, because William is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, the head of state and the head of government. But Kuria is saying one thing. Kipruto Arap, yes, is saying something. That towards the end, they will be dropped like hot potato. And William Ruto will do this, according to Kuria, not because he is wise, but because he cares about it, his interest. You see, when we are approaching 2027, people will be asking Ruto, give us your scorecard. Not only Ruto, but those who are now sitting in offices, those who have been given the golden opportunity to serve Kenyans. When we get to 2027, you will not stand before us and tell us, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. You will be telling us, this is what I have done. In fact, the best people who will sail through are the people who have done at least something. Then they will be going back to the constituents and telling them, I started this, give me an opportunity to finish it in my second term. And William Ruto will sacrifice ministers who are corrupt. There is no any government that does not know that such and such a person is corrupt. So William Ruto will allow them to perpetuate corruption, and Kenyans will continue to suffer if they don't do something. And if Raila Amolo Odinga relents, because I can assure you that the only difference between Raila and Ruto, the only difference between Raila to State House is himself, Raila. Raila is his own enemy, his sympathy, his statesmanship as a Kenyan. When he's about to get to State House, he's got a lot of sympathy. So if Raila, as usual, relents and forgives William Ruto, and so William Ruto does the first term, I'm telling you, Kenyans are really going to suffer to an extent that when we get to 2027, they will not want to hear anything about Ruto. And Ruto will sack ministers who Kenyans have said are corrupt. And he will claim that when he appointed them into offices, he gave them the freedom to act and to exercise autonomy. And he will tell them that this is the time for everyone to carry their own cross. And so when he sacks them and sever ties with the former governors who people feel are corrupt, this will change the narrative. And people will start saying that, Ruto is a good man. It is those people who surround him who are bad. You can now see that he has sacked the corrupt people. And for a while, because we are human beings, Galamu and Haki Umpe will start just thinking that, okay, maybe we give him a second chance because he's now dealing with corruption. And he will capture, or of course he has captured, the courts the DPP, the office of the DCI, and they will play it in such a way that all these other people will be sent home. And they can be sent home for only that period when he's campaigning until he is re-elected. If you can see, William Ruto has brought in people like Echesa who have got cases, people like Humphrey Kariuki, the best of his friends. And so once he does this, ladies and gentlemen, the media will be all over saying that William Ruto has now started, is now cracking the whip, and it will be grabbing headlines. In the social media, the UDA social media bloggers will be charged to praise William Ruto, people like Itumi. And for a while, people will be confused and others will give him the benefit of doubt. The second thing that will happen is that the money that is being collected now, because this government is corrupt to the core, the money that they are denying us, the money that they don't want to release, all these loans, local and international loans, is now going into people's pockets. During that time, he will release this money. He will be launching projects. He will be dishing it out. He will lower the prices of unga, the prices of oil, albeit for a while, for only a few, maybe just a year or 6 months to election. And then you will see a complete paradigm shift and people will start praising William Ruto. Your money that is now being misused and is held in accounts, the money that is supposed to be used for projects, the money that is supposed to be given to the county governments, this money will be released towards the tail end of William Ruto's first term. And then people will say, okay, this is a new William Ruto. This is the Ruto we knew in his first term when he was campaigning. And he might just get a second term. His tribesmen will vote for him. They will have a change of mind. The second thing that will happen, this is the time when William Ruto will, drop Rigathi Gachagua. He will be sacking Rigathi's ministers, leaders from Central, those who he believes are corrupt. Because right now, people like Moses Kuria are from Mount Kenya. So most of these Mount Kenya members of parliaments and leaders and permanent secretaries must be very careful, because William Ruto will protect them for now. When that time comes, they will be left to the people, and William Ruto will just drop them. And when they complain, William Ruto will let people know that he is the cleanest person in this Kenya Kwanza government, and people like Gachagua are the people who are interfering with him, are the stumbling blocks to a clean government. Because when he starts persecuting and dropping and sacking leaders from Mount Kenya, they will complain that, we gave you, we voted for you, and now you don't care about us. And then William Ruto will say, you see, this is what is happening. And ladies and gentlemen, Kipruto is saying that sadly enough, we are very forgetful. And this is an eye-opener, a wake-up call. William Ruto has not even done his first year. And there's a wake-up call. People are being told, don't wait for this guy. This is the time to deal with him, to stop him. Because if you don't, then he will deal with you and he will stop you. And it is also a wake-up call to the people who have been given a mandate to serve Kenyans. Don't think that you are close to William Ruto now. You will perpetuate the corruption. You can interfere, engage in atrocities, including even murder, thinking that you are close to power. But there comes a time, and it shall come to pass very soon, that William Ruto will leave you alone. And you will not have anyone to cry to. Kenyans will praise him. Kenyans will stand by him. And you know what? When William Ruto will be elected for a second term, if that happens, then all the other ministers that were sacked will easily come to power, because there's nothing you will do. The same thing he's doing. He promised us, goodies to lower the cost of living. But now that he's in power, you can see him imposing very, very dangerous taxes. Do you agree with Kuria? Because from where I sit, I completely concur and agree with Kuria, and let Kenyans be very careful let all the ministers, the permanent secretaries, leaders in Kenya Kwanza be very careful, lest you become the sacrificial lamb and you will make us sanitize Ruto once you are sacked. And that is my take.